Hello.
Love
Welcome. Bienvenue. Daniel. To our
Très bien.
Sofa Broker podcast, available on all
Oh, hang on,
that's your
I
bit.
do that bit. I
Okay.
do that bit.
I apologise.
Bloody right. And
Got ahead of myself.
See, typical Etonian.
Ideas above my station.
Just Etonian wants to take everything.
Yeah, I went to a really posh public school, so therefore I should be doing everything and taking over and running the country, leaving,
Isn't that what happens anyway?
leaving Europe, buggering up the country, killing the real estate market.
That's
what I'm going to do.
What?
That's what given the school I went to, should I not be completely and utterly destroying our industry?
That is really not fair.
I'm going to become a master of the universe. That's what I've never been an old boy network kind of guy, but you just give me a really good idea.
What's a master of the universe? Isn't that like He-Man?
Well,
He-Man?
it's those sort of, I don't know, entitled guys that sort of run the world. The ones that pull the puppet strings for Donald Trump and all that kind of stuff. I'm in a funny mood today.
We're not
and I don't know why I'm in a funny
Oh my God.
conspiratorial mood. I don't know why. Because the sun is shining like it was last week. We are so lucky. And on my way to this fine house of yours,
In your Volvo.
with the windows down like last week, in my Volvo,
Listening to what, the
I
Red Hot
could
Chili Peppers?
smell cut grass. I could hear the sound of leather upon willow coming from cricket ground yonder.
Stan, I think we're going to have to edit this. He's gone mad, mate. He has gone absolutely mad.
I just love the summer, which is weird because you call me Eeyore and think I should be sitting in a fireside pub in the winter in the middle of
You love
Clerkenwell.
the summer for the 5 minutes you've decided it's all nice, and then you decide that you don't love it no more, and everything's terrible.
That's
Like, it will be simply, it's too fucking hot.
language, Timothy.
Yeah, I can't go out. It's too hot. I can't move anywhere. Can't play cricket.
It is true. I cannot do viewings when it's over 28 degrees.
Mate, you cannot do viewings. You hate them.
I'm really bad.
Full stop.
If you were listening last week,
Or maybe a couple of weeks after this week.
or whenever it was,
Yeah.
it seems like ages ago. That was right at the beginning of spring, summer.
So I get this. I get asked a lot of people about what I'm going to ask you about.
Oh no!
And I know it might be one of your bugbears, or it might be something you're great, being that you spend a lot of time in the county of France.
County.
Yeah, that's France, and it's county, isn't it?
Thank God one of your family is educated. Jesus. Producer Stan is shaking his head. He's like, why am I bothering to go to Durham?
Whatever, right? It's away from our beloved shores.
I love France. Yes, carry on.
Good old Blighty. So what gets me, like, so a lot of agents that come on, and especially, once we've done the academy and our online course, and they're talking about stuff, it still miffs me how someone
Great word.
living in a house, use your example, in Greenwich, for example, wants to go because someone's introduced them to, or they think they can. I'm not going to go into the world of LinkedIn because we know that that's crazy, but wants to list, it's usually developments in other countries, i.e. they want to list something in Marbella. They want to list something in Ibiza. They want to list something, in
Cyprus,
Tenerife. They're constantly thinking about, or they fell into this trap because, they may have been away.
LinkedIn has told them they're a global real estate broker.
No, I think people are global real estate brokers. I think they can be. But what I'm trying to understand is, if you're living on the high street, in a road with houses on your doorstep, with transactions that can be done that go back.
Do you mean living or your office? What are you talking
your
about? What's the
office
question?
or your living. So you're in Greenwich, right? We're talking as a self-employed agent in Greenwich.
Okay.
So I would always say start where you can walk, right?
Yeah. You always used to say to me, if you can't touch it or shake the hand of the owner, leave it.
But you get a lot of people, and it always seems like I'm telling them off when they go,
Sorry.
I can get this whole load development in blah, 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 blah. Okay?
Yeah.
And it means getting on a plane.
I'm getting anxiety at this point.
Loads going on. Why is that why is that turned into a space that is inhabited by people that have driving licenses?
I will give you the answer.
Okay.
And we have a lot to to blame for this particular.
This is a moronic comment from Solly.
Moronic?
Yeah.
Okay. My answer to that question, Daniel McPeak, creator of brokerages and of great agents, lifestyle business.
Oh, please. We used to say, was it?
Expand?
No, I need to expand on that. I hate it when people say that. Yeah. Let's expand on this. We just got to slow this down.
We could always circle back on it a little
bit. Don't circle back on anything.
Can we call this the David Brent edition, where we just talk in sort of, I don't know, office speak? Ducks lined up and all that kind of stuff. No.
Okay, no, you're going for just low-hanging fruit now.
Yeah, sorry. Okay,
right.
That was boring. So it's the lifestyle business, obviously. So if you don't need to sell property, then you're going to take on something in Marbella when you live in Neasden, because you're not taking it on. Taking on a property means a mandate, means meeting the person that owns it, getting a mandate signed, knowing every single square inch of it, and then offering it for sale.
Okay.
Anything else, the very best you can be in that situation, sorry if you're in Greenwich and whatever, is to refer it, like we mentioned in the last podcast. What is a referral and what is being the agent? But that's not my point. My answer is lifestyle agent. If you don't need to sell property to pay your bills, to look after your kids, all that kind of stuff, pay for your car, go on holiday, whatever it is you need to make money for, you're just doing it for a lifestyle. And therefore you can go, la, 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 I've got 15 deluxe villas in Cyprus or Athens or whatever it might be, although I'd never actually been there before. Because it's just lifestyle, but you're using the word business to make it look like you have a business. I know I'm being deeply cynical, and I'm sure there are people listening to this going, but I do have a listing in Marbella, and I do live in Neasden or whatever, and that's fine. And if you're happy, I'm not here to say, please be unhappy in your lifestyle business, but that is the answer that I'm going to give you. And I guarantee you, the person who is doing that is either doing something that we don't know about and is really successful and having a great time, or they're going broke.
So if they have started out their career and they do need to make money from it, how would you bat people down without making them feel terrible?
I'm getting worse at it.
So I think I am. So someone says, we've got a property that we want you to deal with in Marbella, and I can get access to this property in Marbella. Where I always fall foul of it is, have you been there before? Same question you asked. Are you direct? Do you understand the Spanish market? So do you understand that this isn't like in the UK? So first of all, it's telling them there is a difference between what we do in the UK to what we do in most other countries. And most other countries have differences.
We are actually unique.
Yeah, but it can be that most other countries have differences. Spain is completely different to Miami.
Yeah.
Right? So, there's different ways that real estate moves globally.
Yeah.
Right? And I think it's important. The first thing is always said is like, what is your experience? What has your communication been like dealing with someone in Marbella? If you've just got a property on, did you know that most listings in Marbella are open? So anyone can turn up and get it. Therefore, what are you bringing to the table that someone who's located in Marbella is probably a part-time tennis coach?
Yeah.
Right? Knows about the property, can show it, knows about the average square foot, knows about the pricing, knows about the legalese wrapped around selling it, because you would need to know all that.
It's very different.
It is different. So is there a point where you can say, yes, but and I'm playing devil's advocate with you, Sully, as a global agent, surely it's just about getting the listing, and if we bring a buyer, that's good enough, right?
I mean, maybe, yes. I think if you've got the algorithm, let's say you want to load your website up or whatever, or your Instagram content, and you've got all of that going, yes, I'm sure the algorithm will bring more people to you. But our job isn't to do that. Our job is to sell that particular property. So I think the question goes further back is, should you even have that mandate? Should you look at yourself and go, Your tennis coach, he may be doing it as a lifestyle business down there, but he's probably going to do one sale a year and make 100,000 euros or whatever, and then go back to being a tennis coach again.
That's
Okay.
because
But the reason he's going to make that 100 grand is because A, he's ... there,
yeah,
and B, he can actually, if someone says, wherever they come from in the world, I'm going to be in Marbella this afternoon and I would like to see that €2 million villa, tennis coach guy can put down his tennis racket, put the balls back in the tube and go and meet them at the property. And that's how you sell a property. Any other way, you're ringing up the tennis coach from, if you do get the lead, I mean, that would be amazing. Let's face it.
Yeah.
If you get the lead and you're in Neasden or Greenwich.
Yeah, that is amazing.
That's
yeah.
nothing short of miraculous. But let's say you do, then you've got to get someone in Marbella to do the viewing for you, unless you've got a private jet.
So I think what's important to also unwrap a bit here, is that the fees are so different. So the reason that the part-time tennis coach is a part-time tennis coach, like what you say, he can earn 100 grand because the fees are typically 6%, right?
Yeah.
5 to 6%. So that's why that people get excited, we're living in Greenwich, but we can sell a house in Marbella and get 6% out of it. That's when it also becomes problematic, because if you deal with just the property that's on your doorstep, at 2%, and we on the academy teach people how to get 3%, you can get the same thing with, being able to walk there, being able to hold people's hands. Real estate, wherever we travel globally, I think we can sell property anywhere. Okay. Whether we choose to do so or not is a different thing. I agree, and we always have done for years, I think referrals are the best thing. If I'm not the person that's walking in the door to showing it,
It's a referral.
Right, it's a referral.
Yeah.
Simple. Okay. That does not mean that I can't talk to the person in Marbella on the phone or been out there, and they're like, they might have met me cold, and they're like, Dan, you're a really great agent, I'd love to deal with you this. I would then have a set of questions. I know that the Marbella market is like this, so have that ready, prepared for you, and about anywhere. So typically it's just load it up and anyone can see it. Is that correct? Or are we going to have an exclusive agreement? Okay, because that changes things.
Yeah.
If it's going to be, yes, it's correct that anyone that can have it, I would say, look, best will in the world. I can refer it over to someone. I'm not sure if I'm going to want to, because we don't want to be number 29 on a list.
Well, they'll know about it
of lots of
already if they've
people.
got a license down there through all the other agents.
So what can you do?
Yeah.
So can I then bring buyers differently to you that haven't already been dealt with, down to the amount of people, the amount of brokers that have access to it? So, okay, let's say every now and then someone in the UK discovers a Banksy, right? It's a one-off.
Yeah.
All right, it's one. That's a possibility. Just saying, right? Every now and then.
Ewan did.
Yeah. All of a sudden, I might think, right, that person, I've got this property in Marbella, and fun enough, my next door neighbour wants to move to Marbella, and I managed to sell them a property.
How would you monetize that? What would you do? 'Cause that could happen, like with Portugal, for example.
Yeah. Well, I think we should stay in Spain. How would that happen? That would be, I know that my next door neighbour wants to move.
So you're getting the full fee
Yeah.
from the, but you're
But
getting.
I would know already.
Yeah.
Because he would know I'm an agent, and what he would do and what I do all the time is tell everyone all the time, I'm an agent, this is what I do, this is why
why
you
he
should
calls
be
you.
talking to me.
Yeah.
This is why he would contact me.
Yeah.
And I would put them together that way and think, that was lucky, that was like winning, that was like finding a Banksy, right? So in where opportunity that happens, where can you bring more to it? So where can you do something that no one else is doing? Can you open up a market that no one else has done before? That involves, again, having people on the ground, right? You have to deploy people, you have to deploy cash. And that, to me, when I speak to people about markets and going there, always just looks, for them, for being an independent agent, for not being in Marbella, trying to do it on their own, I would say to them, look, I love what you're thinking. You're absolutely right to be looking at this globally. And markets change. And there's nothing wrong with looking at hotspots and moving into them markets. But on your street, where you live, there's 3 or 4 houses for sale. Out of them 3 or 4, let's say there's 3, get one.
Yeah.
Concentrate on that one. Do what you need to do to get that one done. And then, like, what we have always done, if you have got this one in Marbella and you can get some sort of exclusive, maybe you got a joint exclusive, I don't know, bloody refer it. I could take the headache away from you and put it in the hands of someone that does know the market. Just because you can get on a plane and go everywhere, there's a very big difference between that and understanding the market when you land in that country.
So tell our viewers or listeners about what our little in-house rule, which we call our 10% rule. Do you want to just, because I think that is very
So
much
if we got people calling us about, because we get this a lot, right? We've got this or we've got that and blah, blah, blah. We spend 10% of our time listening and working out whether or not it's something we should
It's
want.
a goer, yeah.
And out of that 10%, most often or not, it's a referral. But now where it gets sexy, like with Aperture at the moment, it's a referral with that network. So if someone phones up, for example, in Marbella, we would have an agent in Marbella to collect that. So now it becomes a soft lead. So now we're referring them back, let them do their thing, over there, and get your referral, and then make 25% of the 5
So you'd
or 6%.
still call that, and this is, I'm not saying what's right or wrong, I'm not asking a question as if I'm Joe Public. You would still call that. So let's say Aperture Dan has a client in Marbella, and Aperture Carlos is in Marbella, and you refer that client, you're still referring that. You're not going to try and shifty that into a little bit of a co-broke scenario.
No.
So there might be a little bit more cash for you.
I'm going to refer it because, in my experience of always, of years and years of doing this, if I can walk to it, I can sell it.
Yeah.
Okay. What I think's brilliant with that, if it is Carlos in Marbella and our vendor, and the reason I'd refer it is because I have a relationship there. Relationships are valuable.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't want to walk away from a valuable relationship. So what I can do is then refer it to Carlos. Carlos will then be going back, because I'm naturally going to be curious. I'm going to be, Carlos, how are you getting on with that, mate? What's the feedback?
But you can't make Carlos feel like he's working for you.
No. I'm just like, how's it going with that?
That's the problem with referrals.
Or Carlos might phone me and go, Dan, I think what would help is if you phoned the vendor, as you've got the relationship, because we're close on getting an offer, but it needs to come down 100 grand.
Yeah.
Right. So, can you help with that? That's all part of the referral network. That's getting the deal done. And more importantly, that is giving the client exactly what they need, when they need, and how they need it.
Yeah.
That is a service. And that is what's missing. You can't just take yourself and say, look at my Instagram page, run around, Marbella, showing stuff off, fly home to London and sit there in Greenwich expecting
waiting for a lead. Yeah,
through.
exactly.
That is setting your client up a disservice, because you are not telling them.
That's lifestyle agency.
Right. You're not telling them exactly what it can be. And I think people get stuck thinking that if I'd go do this and I go do there and I do a video and I run around and it's all very nice and very good and cleverly put together, that I'm just going to now sit and all of a sudden a invisible machine will make it go and send leads, right? That, in God's green earth, is a very highly unlikely situation. That's like finding a Banksy.
Yeah. I think you've nailed it. And also, one, you're doing the thing about the client, the right service. And your bit actually is making sure that he makes the right decision with the agent. That is crucial. And that comes from experience and the way you speak to Carlos. You can get to know whether Carlos is the right guy or not. That's where you're serving your client, not by pretending that you can sell it. That's a disservice. No amount of 6% matter there. I think that's really important. But also, what's the other thing Carlos is going to do? Carlos is down in Marbella. He probably knows a few people with a few spondoolies. People with spondoolies tend to have multiple homes.
Yeah.
Carlos starts walking around, meets Jonathan and Penelope in the Marbella Beach Club, and they say, Carlos, you're a wonderful broker, really like you. Would you help us sell our place in London or Greenwich or wherever? What's Carlos going to do? He's going to call Dan, and then Dan suddenly gets the 75% back his way, and Carlos gets his 25. That is how you network.
That is how you network. And I think the question I always ask people when they're saying, "Oh, I've got this property in Marbella, and I can list
You
it."
just say,
then,
"Do you?" Don't
and
you?
I can get it. And I say, "Do you?" But are you direct and all the negative stuff that we have to make sure
Yeah.
we get them over the line? But I also say, where they're going, where they're going to.
Interesting.
Because if they're going to, for example, you mentioned Portugal to Portugal, we've got agents in Portugal. So we can help them assist. And this is when you start to look at an image of the globe, you can see this is how you package this one client into 5% there, 5% there, 2% there. It travels, the money travels globally. As long as the service you are sure of is perfect.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It can't be someone, without that network around them. And I think that's what we're growing towards. And we talk about this a lot on the academy. And this is how you can move people cleverly, and assist them and deliver that type of service that is missed. When we talk about the luxury agent, I think the agent, him or herself, is now the luxury element. We have everything else. And it was actually Michael Valdez, our CEO, that said that. The agent is the luxury in the transaction now.
Yeah.
Because if they are solid, if it is, using you as an example, it's you, that comes with so much stuff. Last time we spoke about, you need extra bits, but you can go get them bits. Nuances in social media and the trends and how it changes. You're at the cutting edge of what's happening, and you can put them bits together. So when you see that Marbella house, it's interesting. But if you can get in a sort of like a soul, refer it. If it's a developer, this is where I have different avenues with people phoning me up. Now, this is where I sound really bad, because I deal with a lot of developers and deal with a lot of developers globally, because we can sort of package up the situations and where they are. If it's just someone that's just starting out, new to the street, and can get something, like in what was that famous thing that's been for sale in Battersea forever?
Well, the power station.
No, not the power station. The other one, the one that me and you went to see and decided that everyone had it, and it was just not worth being. Anyway,
I can't remember.
There's a lot of developments out there as well in the UK. You can just rock up into.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, developers aren't, they'll, as long as they can think there's a sale, they'll go with anyone. They're not loyal.
Again. And just make yourself aware, when you do that, and you get that on because you need presence and you need stock or whatever, what are you sacrificing in terms of time to the property that you can take on Greenwich High Street, that you can walk through the door and you can deal with it? What are you sacrificing to the one in Greenwich and in this new build development, say in Battersea, where every agent's got it, and of course someone has got to sell it, but and they're all doing the same thing, and there's a million video shoots being done there and all this kind of thing. What are you actually bringing? And I think the only thing, to not be so negative about it, we can bring for it is your network. Your network is your net worth. And if your network is global, there's a fair chance that someone might be interested. But 10% rule comes into play.
I think where it has changed, and where let's say I was an influencer type broker, which I'm not.
That'd be hilarious if you was. You would be so good.
But let's just say
you'd be like someone on Heart Radio, I think.
Oh, thanks a lot. God, talk about taking the wind out of my sails. Anyway, but I think that is where you can add something where you can. And by the way, I'm not mixing up influencer with lifestyle agent.
Yeah,
we know and have helped nurture and create, maybe 2, 3, 4 what you call influencer agents.
Yeah.
A couple of people really spring to mind very quickly, and I have absolutely no doubt that when they go into one of those developments or into a listing that's been on for ages with the usual suspects, both high street, salaried, and our lot, I do think they can add something. So for us, I think we add calmness, experience, network, maybe advisory, that kind of thing, and a little bit of influence. Let's face it; it's not like we're not invisible out there. we certainly have that element to us more than most people, but we aren't we might be, but we're not influencers, like Toby or someone is, and I think they really can add something, because ultimately eyeballs are a big part of selling property or marketing property, aren't they? Eyeballs. Rightmove, 1 billion hits a year. You can kind of see why people would want to be on Rightmove.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not, on their pricing structure, and for God's sake, Rightmove. Anyway, so yeah, I think, that everyone, I think it's those people maybe that fall in the middle ground, that maybe, and maybe even more so self-employed. If you're a self-employed broker and you genuinely can't bring much more than, just enthusiasm, which is, there's nothing wrong with it, then I think you should question whether you should do it, because actually you should be knocking on those doors that are right, left and in front of you on your own street, because you got much more chance of actually, creating business for yourself. Because as we all know, what do we do before we make any money? We're spending petrol, buses, trains, whatever, photography, videography, time. How much is our time worth? Well, we think our time's worth a few quid, right? All of that stuff before the old hockey stick goes back up again. So what, you've really got to question why you would go and do that. Maybe spend a minimum of 500 quid these days, taking on a multiple listing wherever it is in the world, whether it's a new build in Battersea that no one can sell or a beautiful villa in Marbella. You've got to question, really, are you ever going to get that money back? And if you aren't, what are you getting for your 500 quid? Are you getting visibility? Is it actually just good for your own personal company growth? There's something to be said for that.
Yeah, of course.
Personally, maybe it's where I am in life, I'm just not interested. I don't, and I will tell someone if I don't think I can help them sell it.
I think that's brilliant.
But then I'll refer it and try and make 25%.
But it couples back into what we was talking about you before, a couple of episodes of something ago. I can't remember, when you said, you need people around you.
Yeah.
You've realised that an influencer, lifestyle kind of guy, could be part of it, and that works in reverse. So if they realise they're good at this, they should maybe partner up with a regular agent that is knocking on doors, that is going out.
Someone who's got a database.
Yeah, someone that has some stuff that they can bring to it. So, it's a mixed bag, but definitely the story is, and I would tell everyone, and I know you do, is if you can't walk to it, be wary of taking it on, and don't just say, oh well, I haven't got to spend the 500 quid. They've got all the marketing already. Well, then what are you actually doing that no one else is already doing? What is different? Then
it's just a product. And I don't know about you, but I don't think a house is not a product. No, I'm not a product.
It's not a product. And to give you some idea, our good friend Krishan,
I was going to celebrate him, so well done for bringing him up.
Yeah, I mean, he's a superstar. He's in Milton Keynes, so,
right, Krish.
Not the most exciting place in the world. Solly can't stand it. There's no wine produced in Milton Keynes. Is there wine produced in Milton Keynes?
Mate,
just
talk about Krish. Leave the wine out.
No, I'm just saying. And there's too many roundabouts.
There's a lot of roundabouts.
Yeah, and
give your motorbike. You should go up there. You go round and round.
Concrete cows, are they still a thing?
I don't
know. We've had him on there. But Chris, you know what he was doing?
Stan's Googling it.
He closed on a deal the other day in his local area that he walks to. After being around the world dealing with properties everywhere, and he took it on and he made money out of it, and now he's talking about referring something from someone to LA, from someone he knows, give it to them,
beautiful,
not deal with it. Simple.
And do you know what he did, ladies and gentlemen? Dan, you know this very well. He made a brave, smart decision. Because let's face it, he's quite well known, and he can get into some sexy stuff. He decided to leave London alone. Because you know what? You can get a train to London very easily, but he just doesn't know it well enough. He knows where he is. And because of his personality and because he's successful, people from other parts of the world and other parts of the UK will come to him and say, will you help me? And he will say, yes, I can help you, but I won't be handling it myself because it's not in Milton Keynes. Clever.
And I think that is a brilliant. So, let's remember, small fish feed well. So check out our podcast on Amazon, YouTube, Apple,
Spotify.
Other podcasts are available. Speak to you again soon. Bye.
See ya.